and I want to say something about my precious Tamara, whom I love so much and respect. So I was listening to her the other day on live to the internet, and I thought she was going to make an altar call, and I was going to get saved that day. She's about as witty and funny and intelligent and articulate and bold and authentic as you can find. She's a tremendous asset to this church and to this ministry, and I know Marlon feels the same way, but I really, since the first, my wife and kids have been to her house, eating at her table. She can even cook. I'm proud of you. I just think you're and then she's even away from the pulpit, in private settings and in counseling and talking. She's just a tremendous person, and we're blessed to have her as part of our family. Amen? To our illustrious senior minister, Marlon, my friend with whom we are in constant contact. I love him so much. He became one of my dearest friends in Tulsa, right, during the time of all the shift that does happen. And when my shift hit the fan, he was right there. He was right there to hang with me. And he knows I'm here this morning. Of course, wouldn't be here without his permission, but I feel like that All Souls is our church. And I never would have dreamed that 40 years ago when I came here in 1971. It was just no way. After realizing that you were Universalist, I just wasn't going to be here. And I drove by, as you've heard me say many times, rebuking and binding and hailing Mary and everything I could to get y'all free, and I end up among you. After 40 years, you're talking about reimagining religion. I never thought at my age, and really at this stage, I'd be here. I have the bridge, this group, and especially the younger ones, bridge me to another reality, which I cherish. And my background, my roots in classical Pentecostalism, the transcendence of that expression and experience, I do not apologize for in any way, even though I bridge to an expanded consciousness where I can embrace the intelligence of the Holy Spirit, as well as feeling. You can think. We're from a feeling culture, and you are from a thinking culture. Many of yous are. But can you imagine the bridge? I wish I had a church that had this kind of diversity. You know, it's to stand in a pulpit and make an announcement about supporting an organization that supports gay people is something that would have never happened. It still ain't happening in most churches, you know, to have. And then, did you hear the atheist conference? Will y'all get your stuff together around here? You got. In one sense, I'm not sure how much I believe in atheism, but I believe that all of us are some form of agnostic, which simply means you don't know. Gnosis is the word there. Gnosis. There's prognosis, there's diagnosis, there's ignosis, there's ignorance. But truth be told, what do we know? We believe a lot, probably too much, and know very little, comparatively. We've heard so much over the years. Most of us believe that the sun is 93 million miles away. You don't know that. And if they came on CNN today and said that they made a $30 million miscalculation, a 30 million mile miscalculation, it's not 93 million, but 63 million miles away, how many of you would have to go into counseling over that? Would change jobs and stuff. You don't care. You're just glad it's there in the morning, and you're glad when it sets in the afternoon or evening, and the moon comes out. The moon is the night light. You never see us clearly at night. You're not supposed to when you're going through dark times. That's why the moon is not as light as the sun. Don't curse your darkness. Caress it and allow it to caress you. And when you can see more clearly in the daytime, you can give more attention to detail. Thank God for that. But sometimes when you see the details, they scare you too. Sometimes you don't want to know all the details, right? So I'm learning how to embrace the mystery, embrace life. I'm in the middle of transition. Again, the shift is still taking place, the evolution. My text, the scripture text, and some people still read the Bible. Job 14, 14, and I use this very often in funerals. Almost every time I quote this passage, when somebody has transitioned or died. If somebody dies, the King James Version says, if a man dies, or it's really the Hebrew word that is Adama. Funny how the Adama, Krishna, Judah, Buddha, Yeshua, all those A's are awe-inspiring. But if you study history, always there was some awe connected to the deity. There's something about saying, "Oh." You can pray that way. Pentecostals may pray in tongues. Transcendental meditations may just go, "Oh." And if they transcend with that expression, that's cool. The rest of you don't know what you're doing anyway. And you don't know what you ain't doing. If somebody dies, if a mortal dies or die, the Hebrew there means that if you die off or die out or die down, if a person diminishes to a certain extent, or really if a person transitions, if somebody shifts. I got emotional in a minute thinking about all of you because there's a little bit of distance and there's no distance from my church and my background. Coming back to Tulsa, I've only been gone for 2 years. I love this town. I've been here 40 years this month as well. I was ordained in San Diego at 18 by Bishop J.E. Blake, who's in heaven now, or transitioned. And so I have a lot in my past. I have a church out here somewhere. I can hardly drive by the place. I'm still working through that. I've got my life's work and storage in this town somewhere, which I'm paying every month, but it's like a coffin with a body in it, and I don't want to go look at it. It's hard for me to go by the storage. I went once into it, talking about reimagining, repositioning, recalibrating, reimaging, not just reimagining, but reimaging religion, but really reimaging or imagining you. Have you ever seen yourself through the eyes of someone else that you have become? I like to ask that question often. Have you ever seen yourself through the eyes of someone else you have become? And if you haven't, then you're not evolving. You're not transitioning. In fact, you're stagnating. You're not going through the change. And the change is important. You've got to make the shift. You've got to know when to make the turn. Randy Potts spoke here last week. He calls me Unc. I remembered him as a child. They were just babies. And for him to feel comfortable enough to come to me and own his truth and honor it, he tested it with me. He was not sure how I was going to respond to him. He was married when I saw him at the Mayflower Church. And they have children. He's a great father. So when his wife, who's a wonderful pediatrician, one of the most brilliant young women I know, they moved to Texas. He's down there near his children. But that's Oral Roberts' grandson. When I saw Randy and saw Oral, who's like a father to me, and I had just been rejected from that world, for this young fellow to come and stand before me at the Mayflower UCC, United Church of Christ. That's good. Unitarians considering Christ. I'm actually ordained in that discipline. But we felt led to merge our church, and I'm so honored to those of our people who remained here and who frequented or who visit from time to time, at least when I come home. There's a bridge that we're building, and we are still shifting and exploring. But for Randy to feel comfortable enough to me, I said, go see your grandfather and take your children. He will not be here a year from now. He said, I can't go. I said, that's your grandfather, and I want you there. He said, will you go with me? I said, I will not. If his gay grandson comes and his heretic son comes, I don't want to kill him on the first day, so you go by yourself. And he went in March and took the children, and Oral hugged them and kissed them, and they took pictures together, and then Oral made his transition the next December. Will it be a year this December, I think, right? So my last spiritual father, he was 93, Bishop John Mears in Washington, D.C., made his transition about a month ago. Actually, the men who touched me, and most of the women who touched me as senior spiritualists or spiritual people have transitioned. And I'm in between worlds because Billy Graham now will be 93. I spent a whole day with Billy Graham in Oklahoma City during the Oklahoma bombing. Can I just talk to you kind of candidly? Frank Keating, at that time in my conservative days, I was such a pro-life advocate, and I still believe in pro-life, though I support I was on the board here for Planned Parenthood. Me, big pro-life. I sat with Nancy, and she talked to me and through me, and I listened and I heard, and I talked to them about adoption and things that we have supported. But I also understand that they address a need that we in our narrow-mindedness refuse to. And I'm comfortable with Planned Parenthood. I'm comfortable with pro-life. I'm comfortable with homes for unwed mothers. I'm comfortable with same-gender loving people. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, or tri. Trying to have sex and can't. I love you. I support you. Yeah, you in here this morning too. So, and we welcome you. There's all kind of things for you. So, I understand the homo no thing. I mean, yeah, we tried it. It didn't work. With different people would come to me. I put them on a fast. I said, you can get delivered. And when they came back not delivered, I said, well, let's deal with this. I had to accept certain realities that came into my life. When you sit with people as often as I have and hear their hurts and their hearts and their talks, if you don't sit down and talk with an atheist, and there are several in this place, if you don't sit down and talk with an atheist, or talk with an agnostic, or talk with a same-gender loving person. Some of you never had a face-on-face conversation with somebody outside your nationality or your ethnicity. Speak with somebody with broken English. Hear their hearts, their heads, and their hopes. Speak with somebody of a different color. Somebody who might be drunk. There's a lot of more panhandling in Chicago than I've ever seen in Oklahoma, and we always give something when we feel to, which is almost every time. And but I tell my children, when you give, you don't just, which often I do for you put something in the cup and whatever little extra change you have, and but you don't identify the person. You almost dishonor the human being. You dishonor the humanist by not making eye contact. Dignify their humanity. And I said to my children, you see me giving all these, and I want you to learn how to do the same thing. And when you do, don't just drop a quarter or a dollar or a bill in the cup. Make eye contact and honor their humanity. Dignify them as the elegance and eloquence of their being human. And in fact, have some conversations with them. I remember the first time, Julie was hesitant for a little bit, but about the second or third time after that, because where we lived in Chicago for a while, there was a guy that sat out in front of the Walgreens every time, an African American. I said, I want you to talk to him. And I remember the time he decided what he would do. He just dropped the money in there and sat next to the guy, found out his name, found out the guy had been divorced and had a home someplace and had been to school and had been in the army and had lost a lot and was trying to get his life together. He was very articulate. He was very intelligent. He had a college education. And my son, Julian, was stunned to find out this was actually a human being with particular needs similar to ours as human beings, and to honor and respect him. If you sat down and had a conversation with a same-gender loving person and find out where they come from, what they're thinking, how they're feeling, how they express their emotions, listen. That's the problem we have on the planet. The reason we fight is because we fear. Because you fear what you don't know. If we can extract fear out of the equation and replace it with reverence and respect, and embrace dignity, and reimagine. Perception is the ultimate reality, but not necessarily the ultimate truth. If you perceive yourself as victimized, then that you are. If you perceive somebody else as less than or even more than, that is what it's going to be to you. Our expectations, even for coming to church, we'll get out of here in a few minutes, because if we don't, you will leave. So, that's just the way some people are. When we went to church, we'd be just getting through a praise and worship. And we would have kicked in a shout and a jump. Whoa, hey! Quicken and shout and run and jump a pew and slap somebody. We had some people go to church, other folks have church. We had some church. But yet, the last service was a little bit more sedate, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more, authentic and orthodox. But I liked it. We got out in an hour. It was tremendous. I don't know if I can take a steady diet, but, I have to get him out of there. But I loved it. I love the music. I love the sound. I love classical music. I love jazz. I like Chinese food. I like Mexican food. I like colored greens. And I like sweet potato. But I like you and all your diversity because I reimagine me as I relate to you. All you ever meet, I love the way Reverend Ike said, all you ever meet is you. That's really from Goddard's writings, Neville Goddard. You only meet some aspect of yourself in every human being as universal, as one version or versification of the whole. You are sitting next to somebody, or maybe you're married or engaged to somebody. Everybody who comes into your life comes to remind you of something about you that you have forgotten. I happen to believe in pre-incarnation. Incarnation means enfleshment, carnal, your nature. There's incarnation. Some people believe in reincarnation. Some people need and then there's pre-incarnation. What if, and you've heard me say this before, what if in a pre-incarnate reality you made a decision and a choice to come to this plane of consciousness to experience your divinity and express it? What if you actually entered a covenant or a contract to come here as you are, but forgot about it? And in your amnesia, you went into a panic because you forgot where you were. You didn't know where you lived. You didn't know where you came from. You were not sure where you were going. And you panicked until you stopped and said, wait a minute. I decided to come here. Maybe you chose your parents because you had to learn something from them. Maybe you chose your ethnicity, your gender. Maybe you decided before you got here you would be same-gender loving or bisexual. I think I decided to be black because, see, there's something about being black that white people will never understand. So what if I chose my parents? I can't help if I'm cool. I chose to be cool before I got here. Oh yeah, I'm cool on purpose. I'm deliberately cool. So, now let me get back to the text. What, after making a fool of myself, what if somebody dies? Will they live again? What if you lose something or there's a shift? And there are, of course, you know that. But how do I recover, or do I need to? Resurrection consciousness. Can you reconnect, Dorothy? Can we, when I watch you, every time I watch you give me the greeting, I just get tears in my eyes. I think, that's magical in there. Yeah. Is recovery possible? Watch this. Not recovering my church or my property. It's not really mine, but I mean, that was my whole identity, was 86. I forgot the address. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey! Mr. Fortner, I forgot the address. I must be transitioning. Hey! What, 29 what? 2952 South Peoria. Oh my God, I'm a Unitarian. All the days, he says, of my hard service or my appointed time, my shift in earth experience, that's the way I translate that, on earth, I will wait. I will walk. I will work until the King James Version says my change comes. It means my renewal or my release. I'm getting free. I'm getting released from things that held me in mental and emotional bondage. I didn't know I needed that freedom. You ever been cooking in your kitchen with the exhaust fan on, and it's so loud, but you don't know it's loud until you turn it off? And you go, oh my God, was I? Now you'd adjust it to the noise, because we learn to do that, don't we? But what if somebody turns it off and suddenly the silence wraps its arms around you and snuggles up to you? I mean silence you can hear. Most of us are afraid to hear the silence because of bad memories. Quickly they'll turn the radio on and turn something on. I'm getting to I'm getting to the place where I can actually pause and listen to my own, the silence of my own soul. When my soul whispers and I have to shut everything out to hear my soul is wise. My soul is ageless. My soul is timeless. My soul is God. And when I listen to my soul, it reinterprets who I am to me. And then I reassess how I experience me. You know, life stops and starts with how you experience you, not how that pretty girl lady experiences you. That's important. But how do you experience you? Same, vice versa. It's not just how he experiences you, and I'm sure he does, but how you experience you. You know, this is an experience today. You know, I hope you like me. Well, thank you. One of you do. But at the end of the day, I hope I like me. You know, when I say you meet some aspect of yourself in everybody, when I first had my challenge with a malignancy, I didn't like to use the word cancer. When I had the challenge, I didn't tell anybody, including my own wife. I kept it from I did tell my dad, but I kept things real quiet because I didn't want people to get it for it to get out, and then they judged me because of that. I confronted the cancer. I confronted the malignancy. I said, "What are you here for? Let's talk. I'm not going to run from you. You're not going to intimidate me, and you're not going to take me out. You came for a reason, and it's not to kill me. Let's become friends. I'm not going to be intimidated by you. I could choose not to be afraid of you. You have a purpose for coming. Finish your work and get the Hades out." You know, you can cuss with all kind of terms these days. And I actually value that experience because I saw myself, if I had time, I could tell you the emotions and the commotions and the devotions and all I went through dealing with something that I've been very successful at rebuking, binding, and casting out, cancer. I had more success at praying for people with cancer than any other disease. I had stories to tell. So I was confronted with something that I thought I had conquered, but not in me. How do you deal with the issues in you? That's what caused me to reassess, reconsider my own religion, my own faith, my own discipline. I didn't denounce it. Charles Darwin said, "It's not the strongest of our species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but those most responsive to change, to evolution." Or I like to say involution. What's happening inside of me? Michael Dowd will be here. I love Michael. Thank God for evolution. I'm still evolving. I'm still shifting. I'm still changing. I'm still growing. I'm glad. If you want to really embrace life, shift. You know it happens without your permission. But what would happen if you cooperated with it? Instead of resenting and resisting and contesting and protesting, what about just going with the flow? It is what it is. Make it happen. Einstein defines insanity as doing the same thing over all the time and expecting different results. What if All Souls Universal Studios became that? What if you became that? What if you became the most exciting, intriguing, diverse? What if you never knew precisely what was going to happen when you came through those doors? Some of you stop coming altogether because you want to be able to predict it. Some people live such predictable lives. And I'm not denouncing that's good, that's where you live. But what if you didn't always know and you learned how to embrace the mystery and enjoy it? You didn't always have to figure it out, just figure into it. Now what if that happened? What if we became the most diverse spiritual community in the Midwest? We're real close to it. I did the Kiplinger series in Bethesda, Maryland. I think that church was All Souls. I've been to several All Souls Unitarian churches. Y'all like that name? But what if you really did have All Souls here? All Souls, then Unitarian. All Souls, then Universal. But All Souls, the key is not Universal Unitarian. The key word is All Souls. Suke. The Greek word for soul is suke, where we get the English word psyche. All streams of thought, all psychics, all psychologies, all realms of intellect. Pretty close to that. I love meeting interesting people. Turn to the person next to you and say, "I'm really glad that you don't look like me." Tell them. Okay. And then tell them while you're on it, say, while we're on the subject, I'm glad I don't look like you. This is fertile territory. I think that's why you're growing. I've done a lot of fertilizer on this ministry. A lot of shift. I've done it all, shift all over the place. And some people would embrace where I am. Where there's many people, for them it's not a theological issue. It's just a business decision to not embrace inclusion. They're just protecting their assets. Did y'all read between the line? They can't afford to lose their property, their building, their identity, their flock, their prestige. I'm homeless. Actually, I don't want a home. You know, I'm between, so I don't have a job. In fact, we forgot the offering and we needed, did y'all realize that? We need to get that before I finish because that's part of this ministry. And you ought to give it to me, but that's okay. I mean, so we embrace the change, we embrace the challenge, we embrace common union. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, unless you change directions, you are likely to arrive at where you're headed. And where is that? A curve in the road is not the end of the road unless you refuse to turn. You are in the midst of a shift as we speak. You may be holding on, and I still hold on to some things. But yet, it's hard to just totally let go and be vulnerable because you feel vulnerable. You feel unprotected. Because a young man called me this morning going to preach. He's read all my stuff. He said, Bishop, you got to help me. He said, my whole image of God, the persona has shifted. And I don't know how to handle that because I used to trust in that image. And now I'm not sure if I can depend on that image. I said, what about shifting the image to you and depending on you, your GodSelf? Not just God in you and with you, but God as you. If you're made or created in the image of an ultimate reality, a primal cause, in the farthest reach of consciousness, some source of force, some entity, some reality that we can't really define. We don't even have to know that God, just experience what we might call God. Why do you feel like you have to know God? How about just knowing you? That may be as close to knowing God as you ever get. Just know you, love you, respect you, have some conversations with you, enjoy the silence, embrace the mystery, evolve. Resolution, solution, dissolution. Resolve the issue with yourself. All this that I've gone through, I don't even know how long I've been up here. What time do we get out of here? Do you know? We got 11:45. Oh, okay, well, we got 5 minutes. And we still have the offering and 2 pieces of music. So let's evolve and go over. So see how y'all handle that shit. Now my pastor did, you might cut everything. The only reason folks will go over these days is for an offering, and we're gonna do that. Okay, no. I want you to wrap your arms around yourself for a minute. I really wanted to sing Change because I thought it was. I wanted to sing along with the one that has Wayman Tisdale on there, and I want you to hear the opening words. Wayman plays on it, and then we just kind of dance through it. And I might cut it off at the end, but the point I make at the close of this, at the beginning of that song, is very important to you. Enter, if that means dyeing your hair, or buying a new wardrobe, taking off that atrocious shirt, doing something, even if it's just changing the furniture in your apartment or your home. Do something to suggest you're open to the ultimate change that's going to happen. Change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. You're uncomfortable. Why? Make the turn. I'm still trying to turn. When you have a small vision, small car, you can turn on a dime. When you have a huge vision, you have to turn a little bit more carefully. But there's no way you could take a big 18-wheeler, turn a corner, and not get in the next lane. When you make the kind of turn I made, you're going to get in somebody's lane, and they're going to blow their horn and cuss. That's what happened to me. I didn't stay in that lane, but I had to get over to somebody else's lane on my way to make that turn. I can't see the end, so I don't know where this is going, but I'll be there. And I will make the change. Listen to this, and then we'll close, and then we'll get the offering, and we'll go home. And I love you, and I thank you for listening. But I just want to go through this with you, this little exercise. It's called a treatment. Hear what I say, and then we'll go into a little of the song, which I've sang here, but my voice is not as normal. Reel that, will you, Quentin, please? Close your eyes for me.
Albert Einstein said, "No problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it. We must see the world anew." When we apply this quote to our lives, we see that we cannot create abundance by staying in the consciousness of poverty. Nor can we gain a sense of power in our lives while identifying with ourselves as a victim. And whether our intention is to change ourselves or some element of the world around us, we cannot simply wish for transformation or hope that our lives will be altered through circumstance. If our patterns of thought and behavior remain unchanged, our lives will continue to unfold much as they have previously. Making change, managing change, and mastering change is on the agenda of all who expect to remain relevant and relate to this new season in the universe and in time. Wayne Dyer puts it this way: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone must change. No one stays the same. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time.
That's the way of time.
Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, the sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. Wounded heart when you heal, but never much too soon.
It never comes quite soon enough, but it comes. The healing always comes.
Yes, everything must change. Young become the old. Mysteries to unfold. Yes, yes, they do. 'Cause that's the way of time.
It takes just a little bit of time.
Nothing and no one is unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, the sun lights up the sky, farmers ground is plowed, people live and people die,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
but still we
I'm
can't
going to
buy.
change right now.
We must always
to a wealthy place.
try.
Moving on up in life, in mind, in self, in soul. Wave the past goodbye. Do this. Say goodbye, past. I'm on my way. Thank you, Quentin. You can tune that down. One more time. High five somebody and say, I'm on my way to a wealthy place. Come on, I'm on my way to a wealthy place. Now clap your hands and say, I think I can do this. I think I can handle this. I think I got this.